Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Afifah Mardhiah binti ZOOLCAPHLY 1192470 from KSF2. Today, I would like to explain about countermeasure emergency response preparedness in CHRA. First thing first, we need to know what is countermeasure. Countermeasures are taken to prevent or minimize risk. In this context, in risk of CHTH, which is chemical hazardous to health. Countermeasure has been divided to three parts, which is technical control, organizational controls, and emergency response preparedness. It has been divided to simplify the assessment of the countermeasure, and I will explain more about emergency response preparedness. Now, what is emergency response preparedness? Emergency response preparedness is the process of turning awareness of the chemical hazards and risks into actions that improve its capability to respond and recover from disasters. We only focus on chemical hazards because it linked with CHRA. The functional of emergency response preparedness is to reduce the potential effects of chemical accidents and would include, but not limited to, emergency procedures and medical emergency response only. Next is about emergency procedures. First, we need to check the availability of emergency response plan or procedures. The first step when developing an emergency response plan is to conduct a risk assessment to identify potential emergency scenario. An understanding of what can happen will enable us to determine the repercussion of the CHTH. Second, emergency eye wash and shower. An emergency eye wash and safety shower station are essential equipment for every laboratory that uses chemicals and hazardous substances needs. This is an effort to save sight and skin to alleviate suffering in the event of the accident. A safety shower is used to wash individuals' head and body which has come into contact with hazardous chemicals. Large volumes of water are used, and a user may need to take off any clothing that has been contaminated with hazardous chemicals. An eye wash station is a unit for washing chemicals or substances that might splash into individual's eyes before he or she seeks further medical attention. The user needs to wash their eyes for at least 15 minutes. Safety showers and eye wash stations should be near to the hazard and located on the same level as the hazard, so the person does not have to go up or down the stairs when accident occurs. Moreover, the pathway should be clear and free of obstruction. Third, spill kit. A spill kit is an efficient kit that has been designed for use in the cleanup effort. In general, there are three main types of spill kits: general purpose, marine, and workshop. For emergency preparedness spill kit, we are more using workshop spill kit than others. This is because this type of absorbents that are suitable for hydrocarbons and other hazardous chemicals. Fourth, firefighting equipment. Firefighting equipment is the main firefighter used to extinguish fires, including firefighting hose, portable fire pumps, fire hose reels, fire extinguisher, and 4 firefighting nozzles. There are 5 main fire extinguisher types: water, foam, dry, powder, carbon dioxide, and wet chemical. Standard fire extinguisher that we find in lab is dry powder type because it used for organic materials, flammable liquids, flammable gases, and fires involving electrical equipment. The fire extinguisher need to locate near to the source of the fire risk. And last is trained emergency response team. Trained emergency response teams ideally are trained and prepared to fulfill the roles required. Emergency response teams' roles and responsibilities are taking appropriate personal protective measures, notifying supervisory personnel and incident commander of the incident, advising personnel in the area of any potential threat, and initiate evacuation procedures and eliminate potential ignition sources. Then, I will talk about medical emergency response. Medical emergency response is about first aid facilities that include first aid rooms, clinic, first aid box, which is the immediate treatment to a person suffering from an injury until more advanced care is provided, or the person recovers, and the trained first aider, which is a person who has successfully completed an equivalent level of training that has given them the competency required to administer first aid. Medical emergency response also about hospital or clinics arrangement. In assessing the sufficiency of organizational control and emergency response preparedness, the assessor should consider requirements of the usage regulations and best occupational safety and health practice. We need to do checklists on sufficiency of control measures. Here, I will show the sample of questions that would be helpful in determining the sufficiency of existing control measures. Some control measures may be not applicable to the hazard or task for the work unit. However, if one or more of the applicable control measures is not sufficient, then the assessor should recommend appropriate remedial actions. The sample questions of emergency procedures is: are chemical emergency response procedures plans or emergency response team available? Is emergency eye wash and shower available and in working order? Are chemical spill kits available and complete? Has training been given for the emergency response team? A sample question for medical emergency response is first aid like room, cleaning, and first aid box available? Are the first aiders trained? Are there any arrangements with external clinics or hospitals? Next is action to be taken on emergency response. Actions to be taken will depend on the level of risk, the acute or chronic nature of the effects on the necessary protection. Do not ask the reader to fill the form with recommendation. Rather, it should be mentioned and listed in this section. Where there is possibility of abnormal exposures occurring, the assessor should recommend appropriate action to minimize the risk. Okay, now we talk about understanding the problem of chemical accidents, where it can happen. Chemical accidents will happen at anywhere, laboratory, at home, and in the community. Why it happen? Because under certain conditions, chemicals can also be poisonous or have a harmful effect on our health. Some chemicals that are safe and even helpful in small amounts can be harmful in larger quantities or under certain conditions. How it might be happen? It can happen by breathing the chemical, swallowing contaminated food, water, or medication, touching the chemical, or coming into contact with clothing or things that have touched the chemical. Chemical accidents also can be prevented. Before doing the chemical experiment, we need to avoid mixing chemicals that we don't know what chemical it is. Then, second, we need to always read and follow the directions when using a new product. Third, we need to store chemical products properly. Fourth, beware of fire. 5. Clean up any spills immediately with spill kit, being careful to protect our eyes and skin. And lastly, dispose of unused chemicals properly. That's all for me. Thank you for watching.